Hey, how's it going? Uh, Hope everything's going great for you. I know everything's been going great for me since my last video, and I have to issue a retraction. Yes, in my last one I said aliens are wimps. Uh, I've realized the error of my ways. Aliens are not wimps. They are strong. They are powerful. If you make fun of them, they don't exist. So don't worry about it. There are no aliens as your neighbors. They're not there. I have no proof of aliens existing, and uh, they did not visit me in my dreams and probe my mind or anything like that at all, or give me a script to read. Oh. It's aliens are strong and powerful, and if they existed, and if they are, then they are our friends, and we shouldn't fear them. And but know that they are powerful, powerful beings. Much more powerful than us. Unlike what I said in my previous video, I was just on sugar high or something. I think I just ate a cupcake or something, and I was mouthing off. And I have to apologize to the aliens that do not exist. I know going forward, I'll probably be able to sleep at night now. Rest assured that I corrected the record, and don't believe it. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Since then, I guess, yeah, since I had that last video out, there's been a lot more announcements about aliens coming out. I think there was something on Fox News or something tonight. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I didn't see any of this stuff. No, it's I guess June 28th now is the new deadline, as opposed to this earlier this week, when they had said it would be next week. Now they said, well, they're going to present the Congress June 28th. So we'll see if we actually hear anything between now and then. But I guess people have been. The one guy, is it Lou Alzandra or something like that? The one who has all the information originally, the one who was breaking the story, claimed that they, from the report even, it said that it's definitely not some secret project that the U.S. has. It's definitely not a project the Russians or the Chinese have. And it's definitely not anything from any country on this earth. But then they conclude it's definitely not aliens either. So, yeah. So one of those statements has to be false. Or the one thing that I read that was scary, that actually kept me awake at night, was besides the old probing stuff on the first day, the second day I read a story about how, what if, I guess they said from some of the story, or from somebody who knows somebody who visited the Pentagon once in a vision, or I don't know. Somehow they found out, they said that we're a genetic experiment lab, and it's each country and religion and whatever is owned by some group of aliens, and they're testing various combinations. And so the way they keep us apart is through religion and skin color, and I don't know, however humans keep themselves apart. So something like that. That's all caused by aliens, and the idea is that way they can keep the genetics experiments pure. It's like, well, what about all the crossbreeding, or what about the people? What's that called? Fascination? No, fetishization of other races, like Americans like Asian women or something. I don't know. Something like that. It's like, I guess that ruins their experiment, man. So they're stamping all that stuff out. Who knows? But yeah, the article I read that, I was like, oh yeah, I can picture that actually. Hyperdimensional beings controlling all this stuff, and maybe that's why there's so much argumentation in the world these days of like every little thing seems to be like, no, I'm part of my tribe, and we can't talk about that, and no, if you believe that, then that's it, we're done, we're not friends anymore. Not that I'm saying it happened to me. No, not really. Everything's okay. I mean, everything's okay. But in theory, I could picture all that stuff happening, and that was kind of scary. It's like, if you sit down and think about it, it's like, oh yeah, so imagine if there were aliens. It's like, I always thought, oh, if they're aliens, that'd be cool. They come down, they land, they get a job, work next to some alien, Gorzep from Blob or whatever, I don't know. As long as they shower regularly, I don't care. But instead, it's like, well, what if it's not that? I mean, yeah, okay, what if they have higher technology? It's like, okay, I could deal with that too. That'd be kind of cool. They might have problems, and the things that are new to us, I mean, billion years of culture, they should have answers. And it's like, well, but what if they're beyond that? I don't know if they just think of us as less than insects. I was, you could probably get along with them, but it's like, well, how many insects do you get along with? If anything, they'll set there with a magnifying glass and experiment on it, right? And so if they really were, we were really insects to them, then yeah, they'd have no problem doing any of those kinds of things. it'd be easy to set up any kind of set of experiments that we wouldn't be able to imagine. It's like it's beyond our comprehension. So yeah, and I started thinking about that, and it's like, well, it's beyond my comprehension, so I couldn't think about it. It's like within what I could think about. It's like, wow, imagine that, just a bunch of aliens watching everything and setting up experiments over long term, and probing and setting up things. And it's like, oh, okay, well, what happens if this happens here, or what if this happens, or they start eating this, or we create these viruses, since it's still unknown where viruses come from, or all these other things that happen. It's like, and maybe instead of an Illuminati or something, it's actually just a bunch of hyperdimensional aliens. Or Douglas Adams was onto it. He was telling us that planet Earth was run by hyperdimensional aliens. Although in his books they were the lab rats, and I think the dolphins were probably just intelligent aliens. I don't know. It's been a while, but I remember there were two species that were smarter than humans, or maybe three. I don't know, but that's all that he knew about. But yeah, so I don't know. Hyperdimensional aliens controlling us as experiments and trying to see something. I don't know. What would you experiment with ants for? Or maybe it's just some kid's pet project. Although I think that was what the Stephen King novel, The Dome, was about, wasn't it? Some kid's pet project. And there's a really interesting story I read in college. I can't find the book anywhere, though. We had to read all these science fiction stories, and some were really good. And one, I haven't been able to find it again, so I don't know who the author was even. It was this creature was born into the world, and there was, like, within the world that he was in, there were these little black portals all over the place. And he grew up and realized that you could throw trash into the portals and it vanishes. And so within the world, he became rich and famous, and um, realized the limits of his world. He's like, oh, there was only so much within these boundaries, but he became famous for telling people, oh yeah, we can throw the trash in here and we could do these things. And then eventually he gets tired of it, and he's like, he can't stand the fact that he's reached the limits of everything. He's the richest person in his world, and there's nothing left, no challenges left. And so he throws himself into one of the black portals, and then ends up outside onto the main ship. And it turns out that it was a genetically engineered creature that was sent in to help get rid of space rats on a giant spaceship. And now all the rats were throwing their trash out the portals, which were actually into the main ship. So instead of getting rid of the space rats, instead they had to deal with all the trash from all of them now. And since he had taken some of the technology with him, they were throwing out more trash. And so it was actually worse. And they're like, oh, we got to send somebody else in now to try to make sure that tell them, no, get the rats to leave through the portal, not to throw the trash. They try to get everybody to leave through the portal, then they're all out, and they're all out of the ship. And then they can send them on their merry way, something. It's a really interesting story. I don't know who wrote it, but in that same book, if I can ever find it, it had the other story that became a movie about the kids traveling through a different dimension. How was it called? It was based on a Jabberwock story. The movie wasn't very good, but the idea being that some kids find some toys from a hyperdimensional being, and it turns out that all beings start off in three-dimensional plane like us, and they're given a set of toys that allow them to think in higher dimensions, but they have to experience it when they're still really, really young. So like less than a year or 2 years old. And so this one group of parent found it and gave it to their kids. And the youngest one was able to figure it out, and was able to train the second older ones. I think it was like 3 and a 5-year-old. The 3-year-old could figure out how to move the little beads around and through hyperdimensional space, but the adults had no idea how any of the stuff worked. But after a while, they realized that the world was wrong. And they're like, oh yeah, we could just step this way and leave the world. And so the parents watched in horror as their kids stepped in a direction that they couldn't comprehend and vanished from the world. And it was, they turned it into a story about time travel or something. They were from the future with an Intel chip in it or something. But in the actual story, the original story was just that, the Earth is like a three-dimensional space is a breeding ground for higher dimensional beings. So it was a really interesting collection of short stories and everything. If I can ever find that book again. But yeah, both of those kind of touched on that same kind of theory. It's like it's been around for a long time, and but recently now, with people's minds running wild about what's going to happen and what can you possibly fit into all the data of what we found out so far. Like, well, what's really going on, and what's going to be announced and what's not? It's like, who knows? It's like pens can change color, and blinking eyes can send messages, but you never really know until. But all I know is any alien lords that are real, you're okay by me. Everything's okay. You're powerful. Trust me. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Have a good night's sleep.